and welcome to the Little Minds Big Ideas podcast with the Early Years Network.
How we doing?
Happy Bank Holiday Monday, everybody.
Happy Bank Holiday.
We hope that you have had a lovely, relaxing weekend. And if you're not listening to us until the Tuesday, happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday, the happiest of Tuesdays. Do you know what? It always really bugs me how the bank holidays are so front-loaded.
What do you mean?
Well, they're all like April and May time.
Oh, I know. We're going to get one and then
But I guess you've got
Christmas.
Then you've got Christmas, haven't you? I guess the idea is you have... Well, actually, I don't know if the idea
We
is...
have two in May, though, which is always quite nice, though, when you're in May.
Yeah, and then we have... It all depends on how Easter falls, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, just not a big fan of it. I'd like one a month.
Would you?
Spread across.
Spread it all out.
To be fair, though, I saw an article where the UK has the lowest amount of public holidays.
That doesn't surprise me.
With the lowest amount. There's some nations that have like 11, 12, 13, 14.
Nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah, they seem to have a holiday for anything and everything.
We don't do that.
No. We all get excited when we get close to the football finals and they're like, oh, it's going to be back holiday. Definitely isn't going to be back holiday tomorrow.
No chance. Anyway, we have got quite a few bits to chat through today.
We have indeed.
We are going to start with our In the News.
In the news.
Nice.
Been practicing.
Have you?
Yeah.
When?
In the mornings.
Just in the morning.
Just in the mornings.
In the morning.
When I've brushed my teeth and washed my face, I then look in the mirror and just have a little sing-song.
I love that for you. Okay.
My new morning routine.
Okay, this week there was a BBC News article and we did hear them talking about it on the radio too.
Just to clarify, there was more than one BBC News articles. And you can get news articles from other places. We are not sponsored by the BBC.
Yeah. That more children are starting school in nappies. And a charity called Kindred.
Yeah.
I've never heard of them before. I'm not 100%. It's an early years charity, they've said. That 1 in 4 children are starting school in nappies. And on average, children are losing a third of their learning time each day due to teachers' attention being taken away from the children who are, quote, not school ready.
Right, okay.
Now, we had a lot of feedback from the school readiness saying that it's actually the schools that need to be ready for the children, not the children ready for the schools.
Makes sense in part.
So
I think this is the area that maybe that falls down a little bit.
Yeah, but then obviously there's a lot of discussion on children who have got sort of medical reasons as to why they're not going to change additional needs and stuff. But the Bristol charity, Eric, who is the Children's Bowel and Bladder charity, and we actually had the chance to talk to Paul Carlon last year on one of the series. He illustrated a book the charity have sort of worked with to create about toilet training. And he said the charity are doing fantastic work, and they've actually been involved in this article as well, saying that this year... I know, crazy, isn't it? I saw it and I was like, hey, we know them. This year seems to be particularly bad for children starting school without being toilet trained. For the majority of children, they need to be able to just get on with learning and enjoying school.
It's one of the few... I understood fully what everybody was saying with when talking about schools need to be ready.
Yeah.
It's one of the few things that there are... so just certain things in life that you've got to be ready for, and there's stages you have to meet in order to conform with what society expects of you. And for a child to be, pretty much 100%, there's always going to be margin for error and accidents happen. But by and large, a child should have the ability to independently access the toilet, with the preface of that I'm talking about a typical child with no underlying issues, etc., etc., etc. I think that's just the way the world works, unfortunately. It makes life so much easier. Otherwise, like you say, you lose on the learning time, teachers having to run around doing this, that and the other, and they just don't have the manpower to do that. This
group of children going to school this year are the ones that were born during or near the start of the COVID pandemic.
I know, but we just got to blame COVID for everything.
I know. They're saying that those children didn't get a lot of social interactions. However, a lot of them are in settings
but also,
I don't understand.
How old are we talking them being born? Where are we now? 2024. So they
will have been born at the start or into that June, July time.
So, but by the time then they were like 9 months, 12 months,
They could have been back in a setting.
More than, so by that point, it's the children that would have really struggled the most, and I can understand more, the ones that are like turning two at the start of lockdown.
Yeah, who were pulled out of settings.
Were about to start settings or were just sort of started and then got whipped out. That I understand. But at this point, and if they're at home, all the time with mum and dad, what a perfect opportunity to actually start toilet training. So
there's a big debate on that. So give us your thoughts. And another little shout out to our friend Paul. Because he illustrated a lovely book. If you are looking for a new toilet training book that you've not heard of before, this is Amazing Albert the Hero. Show the camera.
There it is.
It's all about Albert, who is struggling to potty train, and he turns into a superhero. And it's a lovely book, isn't it?
It is indeed.
It's a good read. So if you've not read that one, go and have a look. You can get it from all online stores, I believe. Have a little look on Amazon.
It's crazy though, because I'm not really sure what schools can do about the situation, especially if these. It'd be interesting to know of this data set, how many, if they've done the split between those coming from settings and those coming from just being at home.
Yeah,
be really interesting to see what the split is of them then that aren't toilet trained.
Yeah.
And then from that, I'm not really sure what you can do other than giving parents more support.
That's what they're doing. That's what these charities are doing. They're supporting parents.
Because at the end of the day,
settings as much.
No parent doesn't want their child to be toilet trained.
No, of course not.
That's just not, that doesn't make sense. So there is obviously something else going on. There's something else underlying there. And it's probably around information, techniques, strategies, and just
support in general.
And it's often maybe because mums or dad is overly mollycoddled said child, I would often think, and, protected them probably too much rather than actually sometimes going down that pathway. But
yeah, that was sort of the news article that caught my eye this week. So that was that. Throwing it over to you, Ben. New on the platform.
New on the platform.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
Reminder, head over to www.theearlyearsnetwork.co.uk to check out Ben's new class and all of the other learning and development content that we have got on the platform.
All the other learning goodness. So where are we on now? We're on Monday when this goes live, aren't we? I would like to think it'll be live, this new class, today. Big talk, but today, if not tomorrow. It's all recorded. We're just in that editing process, and as ever, that seems to be the most tedious, time-consuming element of it. But it's done, and it's a class that will take people on a journey from the very beginning of science. So that sounds quite...
The beginning of science.
Beginning of science.
Heard it here first. Ben Jones goes to the beginning of science.
I've tried to structure it as a journey. So we start at the beginning with science, and we have a quick, in lesson 1, science lesson about the foundational aspects of it all, the basics. We nail the wording of everything.
Sorry, you've not actually said everyone what the class is on.
I think it's because I've been building up to it for the last 2 podcasts. So I feel like
you're going to tell us.
It's a surprise.
Oh, right, okay. So you just start at the beginning of science in this one?
No. So the class is the science behind behaviour.
Yeah.
And like I say, I've structured as a story. So lesson 1, we go into talking about the brain. We just nail some of the wording around it all and the basic foundations. And then in lesson 2, we talk about a topic called body budgeting. And the main factor and the main workload of the brain and the main processes. And then we move more and more into then what births emotions, and from that what births behaviour. And we talk about a concept called interoception. It's all about what you feel in your body and how you make sense of what you're feeling. Mm-hmm. And then it also talks about, I also then go in and explore the brain as a predictive organ and the power that we have based upon experience, based upon including interoception, and how we bring together these cognitive factors as well as these sort of biological factors as well as the environment to create emotions and behaviors from that, and the ability to sort of move on from old science. A lot of old science proliferates across early years, a lot of throwbacks to the work of MacLean or Saigon and people like that, where they talk about trion brain and the amygdala overdrive and the effects of the hijacking of that system. And a lot of times we talk about emotions in terms of the brain as if it lives in some sort of separate
isolated
space, and that just isn't the case. When you look at science nowadays, modern neuroscience, and it's evolving constantly, our understanding of it, I would think in 20-30 years would be far superior to what it is now, and it's just an ongoing constant development. But what we do know now is the brain is a dynamic. It's extremely interconnected. It's multifunctional, multifaceted. When we talk about emotions, you can't just talk about emotions in isolation. They're interconnected with cognition. They're interconnected with, like I say, interoception networks, and how that then formulates into control networks. And in this class, we explore all this, and it's fascinating. And it's something I've always been really fascinated in. But when you talk to people around in early years, often it's really difficult just in a conversation like now to get all this information out and to make sense. And that's why this class link's a really big deal, because it's an opportunity for me to make sense as much as I can. And I'll probably look to develop it and move on with more classes in the future, exploring the same topic in greater detail. But this class really gives you that foundational understanding. And I hope by the end of it, people are really clear on where emotion comes from. And that we always talk about that why, but it's really putting the science hat on and exploring the why behind emotion and flexible behavior.
Nice.
Yeah.
So get ready.
Have some of that.
Have some of that.
No, I think it'd be really useful, and I think it'd be really helpful. There's not a lot out there, and what I often try in these classes do and moving forward is bridge the gap between quite tedious scientific journals and information and books that people either just don't have the time to read or put off because of past experience, and bridge that gap then between functional practice. And the final class in it is a rundown of just some strategies and ideas of how we can embed slightly more science-led practice into our practice. So give it a watch. Provide feedback as always, because the feedback's what helps us develop and get better. Please. So let me know what you think. And hopefully it helps some people.
I hope so.
Fingers crossed.
I'm sure it will. Now, what we've decided to talk about today, because it is a bank holiday weekend, we thought we'd just do another fun, chatty debate.
Fun, chatty debate on a bank holiday weekend. Told you I've been working on it.
Love it.
I can even get you
got that Friday feeling today on the bank holiday weekend, haven't you?
I've got that feeling
of bank holiday weekend.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay.
Are you going to kick us off? We haven't even prefaced what we're talking about.
I've not told everybody yet.
God, I just like getting in there.
Go.
I do.
You want go
I like to get into the meat of it. I'm not about faffing about. I just like to go bang. This is the debate.
Right, this is the debate. The perfect early years educator. We've both come up with 3 things. When we originally discussed this, Emily just printed off a photograph of herself. No, I'm not having that. No, I'm not having that. You did that and you cut it out. So there is a photograph of Emily's face just in our office. Why not? Just when I'm not there, people just love to next to a desk. Okay, who's going to go first? You will. Yeah. Okay. My first one is, got the knowledge, but knows they don't have it all. So they're willing to learn. I feel like you do this. You're such a cheat when it comes to these games, because you've shoehorned 2 things into one there. They're all like that. Because you've shoehorned here wanting to learn more, and also though having good knowledge. Yeah, that's 2 in one. Good lots of knowledge. I just said good lots of knowledge. Yeah, so that's mine. Got the knowledge, but knows they don't have it all. That is one of my points. Do you want to expand on it? Yes. About why? Because what we're going to do is we're going to each give 3 points, aren't we? And then we're going to choose which one of mine is the winner. We're going to choose which is the most important, and maybe give a second place as well. Okay. So I think it's important because they've got to know what's going on. They've got to know the basics of learning and development for young children. They've got to know how to support children's development and things like that. So you've got to have all the fundamental knowledge that you need, safeguarding, etc. But they've also got to be willing to learn and not be stuck in certain ways and want to develop their practice as well, so they can constantly move forward and evolve with children. See, I'm going to get you here though. You're going to get got off. I don't want to get got. Because they've got the knowledge though, what happens if they've got no ability to communicate with children? We go on. No, but we're talking about point by point. And that's why you can have all the knowledge in the world. But that's where the willing to learn comes in, because you've got all the knowledge, but know that you've not always got everything to be the full package. But if you're really not good at engaging with children and that's not your forte, that'll forever. I don't think you can learn that. I think some people you've just naturally got it. You can engage. Yeah, well, should we talk about that when the other points come through? No, because I've got you. You didn't get me. No, that's why I don't think that will win. Early years educator does have to have the knowledge, but has to be willing to learn as well. Go on then, your first point. You've done no prep for this. Ben's got 3 words written on his page, on his phone, and I've got a full page. I've been busy editing. No, I'm not having it. I've had to listen to myself for the past 2 hours.
My first one is going to be, I'm actually just going to play off the back of that one. My first one is going to be communicator. Because if you're a highly skilled communicator, and that works both with your peers, so as a team, as a unit, you can really get on with everyone, you communicate very clear. But then that also works really well with children. That stems from the baby room through to the preschool. So you're in the baby room, that individual is really good at, when I say communicator, it's not just, we don't just communicate by speech. You communicate in lots of different ways, subtle ways, through touch, through eye contact, and through all those little things. And so even in the baby room, when you're trying to embed those really good connections with children and develop relationships and give those secure attachments, it's pivotal, because you can have all the knowledge in the world, but if the child doesn't feel like they have that secure attachment, the child doesn't feel safe, it's almost worthless. So communication, and then when you transcend into twos and preschool, having good language, using good vocabulary, giving good
extending knowledge as well.
Extending knowledge through a rich environment with rich words and language. It's pivotal to development, and we know that from a scientific point of view, being involved in and communicating not just language but social concepts and social structure is absolutely pivotal. So I think good communicator definitely should be in the top 3, ahead of all yours probably.
So rude. Okay, very good. I'm not disagreeing with you. I think communication is key.
You can't disagree with it. That's why, because it's well thought out point. Don't need all these notes.
Less of that. Right, my second one is passionate.
More passion. More energy.
More energy. Because you have to want to work in early years and with young children.
Yeah, you can't hold people by gun.
And some people don't have that passion, and that can be really difficult to work with, and it can be really hard for people to accept in themselves when they don't have that passion either anymore, or it's just not for them.
No.
So I think being in early years, it's one of the hardest and most demanding jobs you can have. So I think that you have to want to do it. You have to be passionate.
I don't know though. Do you know what I saw this morning? I saw videos of, it was on an oil rig. I think it was an offshore oil rig.
I didn't say it was the hardest job.
No, I know.
One of the hardest
I know you did,
jobs.
but I saw a video of what they had to do. The size of this machinery, like, guy had no top on, just covered in, like, I assume oil. I'm not over that. Maybe he's bad at his job, because I'm fairly sure you're not supposed to wear it.
No.
But honestly, it looked like the most brutal thing in the world. And then he zoomed out the way outside, and there's just waves. Like, I thought, sod in heck. I wouldn't want to do that job.
You have to be passionate about that as well.
I think it pays extraordinarily well. I would have thought to give up. 6 months, 9 months they go there for? If you're an oil rig worker, message in, let us know.
Anyway, to work in early years, I think you have to be passionate, because it's demanding. It's a really high demanding job. It's non-stop. You can't switch off at any point during the day when you're with children. So you have to want to do it. So I think to be passionate is really important.
I agree.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a good, probably at 4th place, that one. I think it might be the strongest of your 3.
You did in the last one, yeah?
I'm just guessing. I thought you would have got a strong one out there to try and redeem yourself, but
that is a strong one.
It was tepid.
Shut up. Shut up.
My next one is then going to be curious.
Yeah.
I talk about it all the time. If you're not the most curious individual in the room, something's gone awry.
But you don't want to be too curious, because then it almost might go wrong.
Expand?
I don't want to, because you know what I'm going to say.
I don't.
Oh.
That's why I'm confused. I don't even know what that was.
It's a soul.
Oh, right, yeah. Well, no.
Yes.
It's curious with the caveat of being...
Ah, so it's not... I got you. You just got.
No, it didn't. That's not being curious.
I was.
Just because otherwise, all really highly curious people would just, I'm just going to jump off a bridge, find out what happens.
Yeah, they might though.
It'll work though, wouldn't it? So you're taking it too far a little bit there. That's like me saying, don't be too passionate, because then you're just going to just be crazy. You're going to be here all the time. You'll sleep in the nursery.
And then become never late for work. I'm always here.
You need to go home and brush your teeth.
I can't. I live here.
I'm so passionate. So curious for me is a big one. You've got to be the most curious person. If you're in a preschool room, you can't lose that curiosity. We get it sucked out of us as we go through life, but you've got to make sure that when you're in that environment, you're constantly curious. You want to find out why spacemen wear spacesuits. You want to find out why the Earth rotates. You want to find out what that plant is, the name of the plant, how it grows best. And then the children will engage with that and they'll join your curiosity and they'll explore. And don't overpower them and take over their learning and their thought process.
That's what I mean. That can get difficult because then if you're too curious, you take that learning away because you want to do it yourself.
But let's two-prong it. My first one was good communicator. And then if you bring that in with...
No, we're not linking. Not linking thoughts.
So if you bring in...
No, you just got
No, it's fine. If you think about...
Number 5.
I'm building the ultimate early years educator.
That's not what it was. We were finding the top thing.
Yeah, but I'm building it from the toppest points and I'm working down. And that's why I'll eventually get to your ones. But
you woke up and chose SAS today.
If you take that element of curiosity and you're a good communicator, I just think it's really important when you're embedding concepts like STEM and things like that. And that curiosity would drive that. When you were talking about someone being passionate, I think that curiosity would drive that, and it'll move the class, the education system away from just being, okay, we're going to do sheets or sit down and boringly read a story. I'm curious. I want to go and explore this part and read a story. Balamori.
Yeah, I read a story yesterday to a group of preschoolers about kangaroos who obviously like to box. Oh my gosh, all the whole story. They were like, they're going to do this. Chow, chow, chow. And I was like, please don't punch me in the head.
So the child in front of them just gets decked in the back of the head.
So funny. They were getting to it and they were boxing and he goes, the kangaroos go like this. Ka-chow! So good.
So go on, I'm done. So that's curiosity.
Number 3 is personable.
Personable, okay.
I think you've got to be personable because it's a very person-centered job, both with adults and with children, whether it's colleagues or parents and things like that.
Yeah.
So you've got to be able to get on with people. You've got to be able to communicate with people.
You work in a large team, don't you, as well? Even if you're in a room and that's a team, and then you're in a bigger room as you proliferate out. Yeah.
And then you've got to be able to support others. So it's really important that you are personable. Being a people person is important because you will have to communicate with a variety of different people, adults and children. You'll have to be able to support a variety of different people, adults and children who will come from all different backgrounds and all different experiences. So being personable and being able to communicate with people is really important.
And that links as well into being personable with parents as well.
Yes.
Because
it's
a massive moment for them.
Mm-hmm.
Their first newborn, you don't know how hard they've had to work to achieve pregnancy and the newborn itself. I mean, it's a big deal for a lot of parents.
Parents have to
trust you. to give up their child for that day and to trust you to look after them. So being personable and being able to relay them fears
and things like that,
and talk to them through it is a big part of the job.
Yeah, so I think that's really important.
No, that was good.
Like that one?
Yeah, yeah. It plays a little bit on my communicator one, but I'll lay off. So my final one is organisation. And being an organised individual.
Oh, boring.
I know it's boring.
Boring.
It is boring.
Boring.
But the whole thing.
Boring.
The whole thing.
I love that video. Boring.
The whole thing unravels if you're not organised on some level. And that's from the baby room all the way into the preschool. I mean, especially the baby room. It's so important to be organised just for the room to be running efficiently in terms of dietary requirements, potential allergies.
Oh, everything.
And then just to keep the rhythm and the structure of the day running. And then that cascades them through to the twos and also into the preschool. It's so important that children understand what the rhythm of the day is. They understand the routine. It gives them that security. It gives them that structure. They know what and when and they can play and how they can play and what time they've got to investigate and follow their intuition and all these things. It's so, so important. As soon as that organisation out of a room goes because someone leaves or something changes
someone's
on holiday, you see the effects, not just in terms of it becomes a bit disorganised, but you see the effects in terms of children's behaviours. You see it in terms of their emotions and how they're dealing with the day. Like the whole thing can very quickly come tumbling down just through some minute changes. Equally, it's about being organised and understanding the children have got a really good opportunity of learning here. They're really engaged in, and can we just, have we got the organisational ability to delay lunch by 5-10 minutes?
Like that. Yeah, definitely.
Or actually they're getting a lot from this lunchtime. Can we just play it out for a few more minutes and get a little bit more because conversation's really good, etc., etc. So organisation for me is a big one. As much as it may be boring.
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 Nice. So there are 6.
So my 3 are the top ones?
No. Because I think passionate has to be up there.
Above what though?
Above everything.
You think passion number 1?
Yeah, because if you don't want to do it, you shouldn't do it. And you don't get the best out of anybody around you or the children or yourself. So I think you have to be passionate to be an perfect early years educator, because if you're not passionate, you don't care, and then everything just unravels.
What happens if you're just passionate? So what happens if you're really passionate, but you've got no knowledge? You can't communicate. You're just really passionate.
Yeah, but then you want to do it and you'll be willing to do it stuff.
The odds are being really passionate and only really passionate probably doesn't exist, does it?
That person's not around. Because I'd love someone who was a bit like, who had no knowledge, no care in the world, but if they were passionate and wanted to be there, then we can work with that. We can mould them.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Okay, so that one. And then what's second?
Personable.
No.
Because you've got to be personable. You've got to be able to talk to everybody and be happy and chirpy. So how about personable and communication goes in at number 2?
Okay, well, we're going to join them together.
Yeah.
And then I think it has to be...
got the knowledge and willing to learn.
Curious.
No, I don't think that needs to be at the top.
I think for me it is, I think it is.
I mean, we'll take it to the people.
Take it to the people.
Take it to the people.
Oh, we can't do a 6-thing poll on Instagram.
I'll do my 3, then your 3, and then
we'll have a finale.
Yeah. Let me see, actually, because I did put a question box out on Friday.
You got any more
about what people think. So we've had enthusiasm, dedication, and a positive attitude as well has come through. Any more, I'll share them.
It's fair, you only gave them like 20 minutes.
I did, and didn't give you long, sorry.
Only 80 people have seen it at this moment in time.
Sorry, everybody. So, yeah, any more that come through, we'll share them on our social medias. If you're not following us on social media, it's just the Early Years Network.
What are you doing?
Find us. What do you mean?
Why would you not be following us?
I don't know.
Who's deeply listens to every podcast? Do you feel there's an interest? That'd be an interesting survey, wouldn't it?
How many people listen to the podcast? But...
Do you feel one thing we don't know is I always wonder where do the podcast listeners come from?
Yeah, I want to know that.
Do you know what I mean? Like where?
Let's start the conversation. If you've never commented or liked the podcast before, either on any of your podcast streaming platforms or YouTube, because it is always filmed and popped on YouTube as well.
The YouTubes.
Let us know. Leave a comment. Let us know where you're from. Where did you find us? Things like that.
And likes and reviews on Spotify and iTunes do really help.
They do.
It boosts the algorithm. It spreads it around a little bit. And it just helps it and makes it a bit easier for other people to find us and join the fun little community we've got.
Very much appreciate all the support. Thank you for the support as well. And head across to the network platform, www.theearlyearsnetwork.co.uk, for all of your learning and development needs for early years.
Smashed it.
Well, short and sweet for this week because it's bank holiday and we are going to enjoy our bank holiday weekend. By this point, we've hopefully already enjoyed it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hopefully. Nice and
back into the swing of things.
Nice and rainy barbecue on Saturday.
Woo!
I'll be out there in the rain, flipping burgers.
No, I'll be cuddling probably a dog feeling very sorry for herself.
A bold Doberman.
A bold Dobe.
Probably want to give a bit of context to that.
We've got a Doberman who's bumped her head, so she's got a little lump on her head.
She's got a hematoma.
We think it might be a hematoma, so she's in the vets and having her head shaved. She's going to look silly.
Poor little girl.
Bless her.
She'll be good. Right.
Have a lovely rest of your week, everybody. I hope you enjoyed your bank holiday. I hope you managed to rest up, and we will catch you in the next one.
Ciao.
Bye.